There we go. That's good. Thank you. All right. Everybody's looking good. And the back row, stand tall here. All right. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Happy. Okay. One more. 1, 2, 3. We'll take 2 more. Hold it right there. 1, 2. All right. And we're going to go one more time here. That's good. Okay. Are you good?
Are you guys good?
I'm okay.
You guys good? Everybody good here?
Yep.
All right, on 3, I'm going to tell Vince to cut the ribbons if you want to get that.
Be ready, because
We
it's
have
going to
been
happen
told.
fast.
Yeah, we have been told these scissors actually cut. So
Slow motion.
Right.
Jeff, you know they don't cut.
We'll see. No. Here we go.
It's a trick.
1, 2, 3. Hey!
This is really a milestone in the life of the Nash healthcare system, and we're so proud to have all of you with us to celebrate this event. And you'll be happy to know that being an Episcopalian, my comments are going to be very brief, and the star of the show, Dr. Roper, will be on in just a minute. But I did want to tell you just a little bit about what we celebrate today. This expansion is the largest in the history of our healthcare system since the original hospital was built in 1971. It is a $58 million investment in healthcare for our region, for our people, and we add 133,000 square feet to our campus with this expansion. And as you all know, it is devoted to really 2 major clinical service lines. If you look at just, I'm good at working with the numbers a little bit. If you look at just non-teaching community hospitals, hospitals that are not tied to a medical school or a major teaching center, we're the 4th largest in the state. So we're a busy emergency room, and we look forward to the quality of care we're going to be able to provide in here. The pediatric emergency room that our foundation has been so instrumental in making happen is truly unique. There are only 7 hospitals in the state of North Carolina that have pediatric emergency rooms now, so we will be the 8th. And we can't talk about our emergency room without talking about our great staff and our wonderful physician and our physician leader, Dr. Ken Moore. So we're very, very proud of our emergency room. So let me move on to the Heart Center. The Heart Center, again, which is the 2 floors that are above us, was really focused with 2 major things. One was bringing together all of our cardiovascular services into one location. I know the staff that is here knows, but if you've ever been a patient, you realize that our cardiovascular services are literally spread from one end of the building to the other. And as we decided to expand and grow our cardiology services, we knew that we needed a new heart center, and we needed to have everything in one location. And we were also committed to growth, to do new and different services that had never been available to people in this region before, such as invasive cardiology. So in talking about the Heart Center, I also have to talk about 2 great partners for us. One is the physicians of the Boyce Willis Clinic, and the other is our cardiovascular tertiary partner, the East Carolina Heart Institute, and our friends at the Vidant Health System. The planning for the new heart system, Heart Center, goes back 4 or 5 years when we made a strategic decision that we were going to have new and better services, and we were going to offer, in particular, invasive cardiology services that we have never offered before to be able to keep people at home for health care. So particular thanks go out to our friends at Vidant and our friends at the Boyce Willis Clinic. And today really is a celebration of a lot of partnerships. Our medical staff, who is just so great and constantly pushing us to do new and better things, have the best in services, have the best in technology. They really keep us on our toes. In the building that we celebrate that we're sitting in right now, from a design standpoint, our partners at the Wilkerson Architectural Group, we thank them. And our old friends, Rogers Builders, who built this facility and who have built a number of other great facilities for us as well. In particular, I thank our nursing staff. They're the real heroes here. They just do great work. And in particular, their leaders, people like Sarah Heenan and Leslie Hall, Cindy Worthy, Allison Manning Williams, and Michelle Casamino. They inspire us with their leadership and their work every day. We also have to thank our partners on the Board of Commissioners and our county commissioners who said yes to making a $58 million investment in improving health care for the 4-county region that we serve. So I have to thank them.
Welcome to the Prime Smokehouse Barbecue and Beyond, and we are going to have a fabulous show today. David and I are co-hosting it, David Ferris, and we're so glad you joined us, and Ed Wiley and Yellum, that's right, his wife, and our guest today. We are so glad to be here and joining you all, and I have to tell you, we're going to have some great food that David and I get to eat later on.
Absolutely.
And you get to vicariously eat it, so then we'll tell you how you can come down and taste it yourself. But welcome to Rocky Mount.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Well, we are mighty glad that you are here, and y'all are smoking down here. I mean, you are a very lively place to be. I know David's here a whole lot. This is the happening place to be for food and entertainment, right, David?
Without question, the food is great, the atmosphere is wonderful, and you just feel comfortable and welcome when you walk in. And I've always felt that way since the first time I came in. Of course, you get a nice hug from her, that helps.
And a nice hug from him, too. 213 East Thomas, in the downtown, the Douglas Block area, and it's a beautiful facility. Give us your background, though, Ed. I read, and it's on your menu, the history of your father, well, it's just so warm and inviting. Tell us about it.
You know, a lot of times people don't think about wild things growing, berries and fruits, when they think of Philadelphia, which is where I'm from. But in my neighborhood, in the back of our house, everything grew. There were wild cherries and peaches and apples and all kinds of things. My father would regularly take those things and turn them into the most delicious pie or some kind of souffle or something, pudding. So he was a fantastic
It's got my attention already. I'm really hungry.
There's not a Philadelphia, North Carolina or something that's talking about.
I know. I mean, all of this stuff grew in the woods, and he could turn. And not only was his food delicious, but it looked like it belonged on a magazine cover.
Well, and your menu does too. Mouth-watering pictures. Wow.
That's where it came from. That's the backdrop for that. And he was also, as you may know, a world-renowned jazz musician. Ed Wiley Jr. was a world-famous jazz musician. He traveled all over the place. And he would regularly have jam sessions at our house. Mm-hmm. And what he would do is he'd dig a deep hole in the backyard. He'd fill it full of hickory and apple logs.
Yeah.
He'd pull a grate over top of it. He would slow smoke briskets and ribs, and they'd be smoking all day. And then at nighttime, they'd have a jam session around all this good food and all this good music. So what you see here at the Prime Smokehouse is an extension of that experience. Mm-hmm. And I always tell people that when you come in here and you like what you see, quite frankly, that had nothing to do with me. It had to do with my wife's wonderful taste. If you like what you eat, then I can claim some responsibility for that. And so it's really the things that he fixed. Many of the recipes that you see on our menu are things that my dad fixed all the time. And we try to make it beautiful because that's the way he made food. It looked, like I said, it looked like a magazine cover.
Well,
so
and taste is impeccable too. I mean, it not only looks fantastic, but the times I've eaten here, you have exceeded my expectations. And David, I'm sure you feel the same way.
Without question, and we brought friends in, both from Rocky Mountain and out of town. You were talking about the presentation, Ed, and they all remarked how pretty it is, how nice it looks, what great presentation, how nice the plate is.
Yeah, the variety on the menu. I went online. In fact, I encourage you to go online and flip through their menu, and it takes quite a while because you really do cover the gamut of all different types of meat, seafood, sandwiches. Your dessert menu, I mean, I could just come here and eat 4 or 5 desserts. Well, I couldn't eat 4 or 5 desserts, but I would want to eat it. Everything is excellent, but that was quite a commitment for you all to have as extensive a menu as you do.
You know, this is the 3rd restaurant that we've opened. So therefore, the first one was really just barbecue. And then, of course, we always ask our customers, what would you like to see different? What would make you feel even more at home? So we have these handouts that we give out, and they give us their recommendations and their appreciations and what they like about and what they would like to see. So after collecting, how many would you say? I don't know, about thousands of them. We got this feedback: Ed would love to taste your fish. Would love to taste your fish. And then occasionally we do this special buffets for Mother's Day, Father's Day, for Thanksgiving, and then Easter. He would do this something different with fish, with crab cakes, or unusual food, and people would go absolutely bananas. So we decided, you know what, we're going to add that to our menu. And then, of course, you have people that love to come to PrimeSmokehouse because of the reasons you spoke about, the music, the plays, and yet they're gluten-free. They cannot eat anything that has gluten. So we had to accommodate for those friends.
And it's carefully noted in your menu, too, which is a real
so that way people could come and feel free. They could eat that. And then, I know it's a PrimeSmokehouse barbecue, but you get vegetarians that come. So now we even have vegetarian burger. We have quite a few choices for people that want to eat anything that we have in the menu. So that's why we've expanded it, and we have burgers because people want to come and do burger. They don't want to do smoked foods. We have steaks because people want steak from PrimeSmokehouse. So we've gone above. That's why it's beyond the barbecue and Southern cuisine. So we've covered, I think.
I have to tell on myself a little bit here. When I first conceived of this idea to do a barbecue restaurant, my wife's a nurse, a very respected nurse, and she was in demand in her occupation. She said, if you want to do this, I'm going to be by your side and do this with you. My idea was to have a rib shack. My wife said, anything I'm affiliated with is not going to be a shack. That's what I always talk about when you come in and look around. That's our influence. We joke about this all the time. And I'm glad, because I don't think I'd want to go to a shack every day and go to work, And so I'm glad that, and so a lot of the things that you see when people come in, they say, there's such elegance here with this and that. That's really her influence, I mean, because she, in another life, had traveled the world, entertained heads of state through her family in Ethiopian places. So, it's a reflection of her class, a lot of what you see.
It certainly shows.
So.
It certainly shows.
And also, we don't, and he's been kind to me. He's added up, like you said, we really have a healthy choice in our menu. You don't have to eat anything that's fried. You could do the grilled fish, the grilled shrimp with really our salads, which is really amazing choices. And you have all of the sides that are our collard greens, for example, is not cooked with fat, but it's cooked with smoked turkey. I mean, we really handpicked and chose what we put in our menu. So there's really a lot of effort that's put in putting that menu together.
And lunch and dinner.
Absolutely.
How many days a week are you open?
7.
7, that's what I thought. How do you do that?
Sometimes we stagger in a little tired, but we get it done.
Well, you're looking good now. So, in the entertainment, tell us what night's entertainment.
We were doing every Friday and Saturday, but we decided to sort of back off a little bit through the colder months, and we'll reintroduce, more regular as the weather gets warmer. But right now, every month or so, we have something special. We have Marcus Johnson coming in. We just had a hypnotist, a comic hypnotist, and which was unbelievable.
Wow.
I mean, so a lot of different kinds of things we bring in. But, like I said, my father was a great jazz musician from Houston, Texas. That's where that whole smoke thing comes from, his influence from Houston, Texas. And so jazz is the feature, jazz and blues. But we do different things, and you have to really watch the website to see exactly what we have coming in when, just because it's a little more sporadic now.
Well, if we take a break, will you feed us when we come back?
I got you covered. I got you covered.
And I have to say that the cameramen, Ed and Andrew, want some too. So
absolutely,
make it your usual very bountiful.
They look like they're wasting.
Yeah. See their tongues hanging out over there.
Oh yeah. Well, ours too. We'll be right back.
No question. I want to welcome everybody back. We're getting ready to do something, Gene, that probably in all the shows we've never done. But before we start, I want to personally thank Roger G. Taylor and Associates, and mainly Roger, because his generosity affords the Chamber to put on these shows each week, and it means a lot to our community. And Roger, thank you. And all that's real nice, but Roger, what I really want to thank you for is today's show, because we've got food and you don't have it. So we're going to enjoy it. Let's step down here and get into it.
Oh, absolutely.
We got to test this. If Bob Gardner here, what would he do, Gene?
He would just dive head first into it, I think.
Exactly what we're going to do.
And I think, but wait, David. Now I want Ed and Yalom to have the opportunity to tell us what each of these are before we taste them, so we can know what we're eating. I mean, we know what they look like, but they're magnificent versions of things.
Well, the centerpiece of this restaurant is our smoker. And we have things we say from our famous smoker. And these are our hickory cherry wood smoked ribs. I never take these out until they've smoked at least 6 to 7 hours.
Yum.
This is our very tender beef brisket.
There's an art to cooking brisket.
Yeah. It's a secret, and I'll tell you, but you can't share it with anyone.
Oh, I'll take it in my grave.
You have to cook it low and slow.
Exactly.
Is that your dad?
Boston.
This is my father, brisket.
Wow.
You know, that Houston, Texas thing. And cooked at about 16 hours. And it'll melt on your tongue like Alka-Seltzer.
I'm counting on it.
Never let it get above 225, but don't tell anybody I said that. Okay. This is our pulled pork, you know, Carolina style pulled pork, because we know where we're at. So we had to, you know, we had to have something for the North Carolinians. Over here are our famous collard greens, and this time of year, when there's a little nip in the air, collard greens are at their ultimate. And so you're going to enjoy these. We cook them with smoked turkey. We don't use fat and pork in them. Not that that's a bad thing for people who like that, but this is our way of doing it. This is our crab cake, and my father used to say, and I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, by the way. I was raised in Philadelphia.
You know about crabs.
So crab cakes, my father used to say, if you could stick your fork in it and it practically falls apart, you've got a good crab cake. You got to start with a really sweet, fat lump, and don't put a whole lot of filler and stuff in there that nobody really cares about. It's really about the good crab meat.
And it looks like you have used the minimum amount to get those big hunks of crab to stick together.
And it does. It falls apart.
Yeah.
That's right.
Know that from experience. And that sauce is...
That's my special
cornbread?
Cornbread. This is whole kernel corn in this cornbread. Just the way my dad used to make it. Nice and sweet, nice and light.
I believe we are going to have some macaroni and cheese after all. Yeah. And I've had this, and I've never heard of it except here, in balls, little tiny balls of fried macaroni and cheese.
We do that for our caterings and, you know, sort of receptions and things. We do fried macaroni and cheese.
Well, and that's important for people to know. You do cater, people can reserve the place and have special parties.
We do quite a bit of catering. In fact, we rely on that, so thanks for mentioning.
Now, what you're holding on is not just any macaroni and cheese.
No.
This has been acclaimed by Leisure and Travel magazine as one of the top 10 mac and cheeses anywhere in America. San Francisco, New York, Memphis, LA, everywhere. Right here in Rocky Mount, it's the only place you can get it.
Yum. And we are going to get it, so
we're going to get it. We're going to get it.
Dive in.
Okay. Yum.
I'll tell you what, in the words of Bob Gardner,
Well, so we can eat without talking with food in our mouth, but we're not opposed to that.
Jen, you go ahead and take over.
Right. Yeah, I noticed, again, I want to tell everybody to go to your website and see the menu, because I was so impressed. The nurse in you comes out because you really do help people know the health aspects of the food you have.
I think, you know, when you dine places like ours, you know, I want people to feel like they're coming home and we've already made a choice. They have choices. And I think that's one thing when we talk about health and taking care of oneself. We feel like if we go out, we cannot eat the right food. So it's okay to go and do this once a year, once a month. I'm going to, you know, destroy what I believe in. But, you know, PrimeSmokehouse, we've really taken the trouble to say, you don't have to do that when you come here. You know, we'll have your mixed green salad. You can have your any kind of choice of protein, grilled, broiled if you want to. And also, you know, most of our, for example, our bronze chicken that is smoked. It's again fat-free, it's cooked, smoked, it has flavor to it, you're just eating protein. So you could really have a lot of choices making what you want to eat. You don't have to necessarily eat things like the cornbread if you're you know, afraid of gluten diet. If you're worried about fried food, you could always, like I said, you could grill it or broil it. So you have choices, and it's, of course it matters to me because I work here, I live here, this is my business, and therefore I like to promote healthy living. And one way of doing it is when I'm not nursing at the hospital, is doing it right here so that everybody feels that they have really nice food. It's nice nutrition food.
David, I would say that everything I've tasted here is the best of whatever it is. I mean, like you said, the best macaroni and cheese.
I really do. I agree with
the
you.
best collards, the best crab cake. I mean, this is just, and we're going to grab and chew off the bone on the ribs.
It's too good to be healthy.
It is. I mean, really, think about it. You know, the smoked food is just protein, and it's.
You know,
We cook it with love. We always tell people that.
and I think your salmon is magical.
Thanks.
That really is just.
We're eating it with love, too.
We are.
While we're eating, future plans. You were sharing during the break of some really interesting future plans.
Tell us what's next.
Yeah, you wanna...
Well, there are a couple of things that we're going to start doing, and doing it very soon. One is starting, to make also Prime Smokehouse a coffee house, so that when you come in first thing in the morning, we're really in downtown, and there's no place here to go and get a really nice cup of coffee. But of course, being an Ethiopian, was raised in Ethiopia, coffee is part of our big tradition, and that
so kind of elaborate on that.
Well, really, coffee started in Ethiopia. The story have it where a shepherd boy discovered a goat, eating at the end of the day, eating coffee, and the goat was very excited and jumping around, and then the shepherd boy wanted to know what he was eating, and then he discovered the coffee beans. Took them to the village, and it became part of the tradition then to roast the coffee, ground the coffee, and we have special pot. I wish I had them here, but they're up there. That we use that to make our coffee. And so the tradition is that every morning, even if you go to Ethiopia today, as soon as your guests walk in or the minute you come into the house, somebody is preparing the coffee ceremony. It's a way to relax. It's the way to gather together. And while you're doing the preparation, dinner has been set on the table, and then you eat the dinner, and then you start the ceremony. It has 3 parts to it. The first part of the coffee is, the coffee is roasted fresh. So you have that aroma that you're partaking. And then as soon as it's roasted, it's grounded in front of you. And then it's, with the charcoal, traditionally, that's the way how it's done. And the coffee is brewed in front of you. And then it's poured into these little cups. And the first one is usually called Ab, which means father. There's 3. So you're giving thanks to God. Thanks for everybody for coming together. If it's in the morning, you're giving thanks for spending the night and getting up together. And then the second one is called second, or the bringing of togetherness. So you drink another second cup, it's brewed again. There's time lapses. In the meantime, you're mingling, you're talking, you're socializing, you're exchanging ideas for the day. And then the third one is called blessed, or barak, which means the blessed. So at that time, the elderly in the household give you blessings. If you're doing the ceremony, gives the blessing to everybody who's going out to work, and you wish you well for the day. And then that's how the coffee ceremony ends. So it's really a big part of our life.
What a wonderful culture.
It's beautiful. So I would love to bring that here to Rocky Mount, and I don't know if I could do it every day, but I would love to do it maybe once a month and have that ceremony.
Well, but you'll have coffee every day, though,
We'll
right?
have absolutely coffee every morning, and of course, really, I love really good coffee. So our coffee is, I think people already love the coffee here, but
I have all my buddies are jealous of me. So I tell them how I get my cup of coffee in a day.
All right, we've got
Okay, we got 1 minute left. We got to do
1 minute
justice
left,
to
so
that.
we're going. Roger, it really is a shame. Look how that bone just pulled out of it.
That's the way you do it.
It's just like a Boston butt. When it's done, it falls
Love
off.
this.
Good God.
What's your most popular thing that you serve?
Lord
I
have
think,
mercy.
I think the
That's
things
a
from the
tough one.
smoker are very popular. Seafood is becoming as popular as our smoker, because we have the salmon and the seafood platters. Some people come out on Friday because they want to eat fish. And so it's really
I want to
hard
eat it
tell.
all.
I had the first thing Mary Ann had here was the smoked chicken. And I had shrimp and grits is a staple in the South, and I love it. But I've never had fish and grits. And that's what I started with, and that was really good.
There's a lot of fish and grits.
we do. The crab
Yellum and
cake.
Ed, we have had a wonderful time. And we
sure have.
encourage you to come down here and have a wonderful time too, because y'all are right out greeting people and hugging people, and it's a family.
We are so appreciative of the reception we've got here in Rocky Mount. People are wonderful. Folks ask us all the time, why would you leave Raleigh and come to Rocky Mount? we get it now that we're here.
Good.
You know,
You
now
get
that
the
we're
love here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, really is. It really feels good to be appreciated the way we are here at Rocky Mountain.
We do.
Thank you
We
very
appreciate,
much.
as a community, we really appreciate y'all
Yeah,
being
we-
here. You've added so much to our.
Absolutely. And we
to our
appreciate
lives.
you watching us, and we will see you next week, and have a great day.
And Roger, we appreciate the dinner tonight.